The hip-hop world has been thrown into utter chaos tonight as breaking news reveals that King Harris, the son of rap legend T.I., is battling for his life inside the ICU. Reports say his condition took a shocking turn after a late night emergency that left the Harris family shattered and fans worldwide praying for a miracle. T.I. himself was seen outside the hospital breaking down in tears, screaming for his son to pull through. Witnesses described the moment as heart-wrenching, family members collapsing in grief as the weight of reality hit them. Now, rumors are flying across social media. What happened to King Harris? Was this a sudden health scare, or something much darker connected to the controversies that have followed him in recent months? One thing is clear: the Harris family is in crisis like never before, and fans are saying this could change everything. Pray for King Harris. Hashtag T at Troubleman31 at King_Harris_9. The first images that surfaced from the Atlanta hospital late last night have already broken millions of hearts across the internet. A frantic, devastated T.I. was captured rushing through the ICU doors, clutching his head with both hands, tears streaming down his face as he reportedly screamed, "Please God, not my son. Not my boy." Eyewitnesses described the moment as unlike anything they had ever seen before. They usually composed, confident rap icon now reduced to a father crushed under the weight of an unthinkable reality. King Harris, only 19 years old, has been the center of both admiration and controversy in recent years. Known for his fiery personality, bold public statements, and refusal to back down from critics, King carved a lane of his own in the hip-hop scene. But behind the swagger and boldness, family insiders now claim there were warning signs of health problems that had been ignored for too long. According to sources close to the Harris household, King had been complaining of extreme chest pains for weeks leading up to the emergency. One insider revealed King thought it was just stress or exhaustion. He didn't want to look weak, especially with everything going on around him. But on that fateful night, King reportedly collapsed at home. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital, where doctors immediately admitted him into intensive care. The scene outside the hospital quickly became chaotic. Fans gathered, lighting candles, praying, and chanting King's name. One young fan shouted into a live stream, "We can't lose him. He's just getting started." Clips of crying supporters outside the ICU have already gone viral on Twitter and TikTok, with hashtags like #PrayForKingHarris and #StayStrongKing dominating trending lists. But perhaps the most gut-wrenching sight was that of Tiny Harris, King's mother, being escorted by family friends as she reportedly broke down, nearly fainting at the sight of her son on life support. She kept screaming, "Not my baby, not my king," an eyewitness recalled. The hospital staff tried to maintain calm, but the weight of the situation has already spread far beyond Atlanta. Inside the ICU, doctors are said to be working tirelessly. According to an alleged leaked report, King's condition was described as critical but stable, meaning he is alive but fighting an uphill battle. A nurse who spoke anonymously to local media hinted at the gravity of the situation. This isn't just about recovery, it's about about survival. And then came the moment that ripped through every corner of the internet. T.I. stepping outside after hours inside the ICU. Paparazzi cameras captured him sobbing into his hands, whispering something under his breath before looking up and shouting, "Please, y'all keep praying for my son." That footage has already amassed millions of views in less than 24 hours, with fans describing it as the most vulnerable moment of T.I.'s entire career. But behind the tears, whispers have begun. Some fans and insiders are pointing fingers at the pressures that have been placed on King Harris: pressure to live up to his father's legacy, pressure from the rap industry, and pressure from constant social media scrutiny. Could the stress of being in the public eye have played a role in his collapse? Or is there more to the story than what the Harris family is revealing? Online speculation has already reached a fever pitch. Some claim King was involved in an altercation days before his hospitalization, while others suggest the possibility of substance-related complications. However, close family sources have strongly denied these rumors, insisting that this was a purely medical crisis. Still, in the world of hip-hop, where whispers quickly turn into headlines, every detail is being dissected. Meanwhile, fellow celebrities have started sending messages of love and support. Rapper Meek Mill tweeted, "Stay strong, lil bro, you a fighter." @Nickamini posted a prayer emoji with the hashtag pray for King Harris. Even unlikely figures like controversial media personalities have chimed in, some offering support, others exploiting the tragedy for clout. The tension inside the hospital is said to be unbearable. According to a hospital insider, security has been tightened as the Harris family demanded privacy after fans tried to storm the waiting room. They had to call extra guards. People were crying, some were screaming, and others just wanted to be close to him, the insider revealed. For T.I., the moment has forced him into the darkest chapter of his life. He has always spoken about his children being his greatest motivation. And seeing his son lying helpless has reportedly left him shattered. Friends close to the rapper say he hasn't slept, pacing the hallways, constantly asking doctors for updates, and even refusing food. One source said this is breaking T.I. in ways none of us have ever seen before. Fans across the globe are holding on to hope. Viral TikToks are showing supporters blasting King Harris music outside the hospital, claiming they want him to hear the love no matter what. Thousands have joined prayer spaces on Twitter, with fans from as far as London, Toronto, and Lagos joining in solidarity. The sentiment is unanimous. The world cannot afford to lose King Harris this soon. And yet, as much as fans are rallying, fear continues to spread. Doctors have warned the family that the next 48 hours are absolutely crucial to King's survival. That phrase, next 48 hours, has sent shivers across the fan base, with many fearing the worst. The Harris family, once known for their glamorous reality TV appearances and strong bond, now find themselves facing the nightmare of watching one of their own fight for his life. And as cameras capture every tear, every scream, and every moment of anguish, the world is left wondering, will King Harris survive this battle in the ICU? Or is the Harris family about to face an unimaginable tragedy that will shake hip-hop forever? The sterile silence of the ICU was broken only by the hum of machines and the occasional muffled footsteps of nurses rushing past. But behind those closed doors where King Harris lay surrounded by wires, tubes, and beeping monitors, the battle was more than just medical. It was emotional, spiritual, and deeply human. The Harris family, who had always been seen as unshakable in the public eye, suddenly appeared fractured, vulnerable, and terrified. T.I., the man who had built an empire of resilience and dominance in the rap game, was now reduced to pacing back and forth outside his son's hospital room. His voice cracked as he cried out to the doctors, demanding updates every few minutes, but nothing seemed to give him the reassurance he was looking for. For the first time in years, T.I. looked small, broken like a father, not a superstar. And those who witnessed him in that moment described something they had never thought they'd see. The King of the South crying uncontrollably in a public hallway, tiny. King's mother sat slumped against the wall with her hands clasped together in prayer. Her mascara-streaked face revealed hours of crying, her whispered words begging God to save her baby. Fans who had followed her journey through reality TV knew Tiny is strong, outspoken, and resilient, but this version of her silent, desperate, and trembling showed a side no camera had ever captured before. According to an insider close to the family, Tiny had not left the hospital since King was admitted, refusing to eat or sleep properly because she didn't want to miss a single update. And then came the whispers, the questions that no one wanted to ask out loud. But everyone was thinking, what exactly had put King Harris in the ICU? The official statements from the hospital had been vague, simply calling it a critical health emergency. But fans and blogs immediately started to speculate, with some pointing to recent stress, others whispering about lifestyle choices, and a few even suggesting foul play. The truth was being kept under tight wraps, which only fueled the frenzy online. On social media, chaos erupted. Hashtags like #Pray for King Harris and #StayStrongT.I began trending worldwide. Celebrities from across hip-hop and beyond posted prayers, tributes, and memories of King Boosie Badass shared a tearful video message saying, "Man, this ain't supposed to happen. King's a fighter, but seeing Tip like this, praying hard for the boy, real talk." Meek Mill tweeted, "Prayers up for King, strong young man, strong family. God got him." Even 50 Cent, known for trolling just about everyone in the industry, shocked fans by posting a rare, serious message, "Family first. Respect and prayers for T.I. and his people. Nobody deserves this kind of pain." But not everyone online was respectful. Trolls and critics began circling, digging up old controversies about King Harris's past behavior and reckless lifestyle. Some even went as far as to say this tragedy was karma. The Harris family supporters immediately fought back, with fans clapping at the negativity and calling out the cruelty. An insider leak from someone claiming to work at the hospital sparked even more drama. According to the alleged staff member, King's condition had moments of stability but continued complications, meaning he wasn't out of danger yet. They described the ICU as being locked down with extra security after paparazzi reportedly tried to sneak into the ward to snap photos of King. The hospital, fearing chaos, had stationed guards near his room to protect his privacy. Meanwhile, within the family itself, tension was reportedly rising. Sources say that while Tiny and T leaned on each other for strength, other family members were pointing fingers, blaming one another for not noticing the warning signs earlier. King's siblings were seen breaking down in the waiting area, one of them screaming, "Why him? Why now?" Even more shocking were reports that King, before collapsing, had allegedly sent out a cryptic message to a close friend. The text, which has now leaked online, simply read, "I can't keep doing this. Something has to change." The mysterious words have left fans divided, with King foreshadowing this health crisis. Was it exhaustion, mental health struggles, or something darker? The industry has been left rattled by King's sudden fall. For years, King Harris was seen as a rising star, young, wild and unfiltered, yes, but also carrying the charisma of his famous father. Many believed he was on the verge of carving out his own lane in music, breaking away from the shadow of T.I., now with him lying in a hospital bed. The future suddenly seems uncertain. The Harris family has requested privacy, but their lives have never truly been private. Every camera, every blog, and every fan is watching, waiting, refreshing feeds for the next update. And while the official word remains minimal, those closest to the situation whisper that doctors have told the family to prepare for a long fight. But here's where things get even more heartbreaking. According to one insider, King actually regained consciousness for a brief moment earlier this week. Reportedly, when he opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was his father, T.I., holding his hand. The witness claims King whispered something to his dad before slipping back into sedation. No one knows exactly what those words were, but T.I. was later seen leaving the room, falling to his knees in the hallway, and crying out loud, "I won't let him go. Not like this." This tiny window of hope has given fans something to cling to, but it has also raised the emotional stakes. Is King truly fighting back from the brink? Or was this just one flicker before the storm gets worse? One thing is clear. This story is no longer just about a young man in the ICU. It's about a family unraveling in the spotlight. A father grappling with guilt, and a son whose fate could change the course of an entire legacy. And as the night deepened around that hospital, whispers began circulating that the doctors had discovered something far more serious than they initially revealed. Something that could completely change how the world views what happened to King Harris. But the question is, what could it be? And will the family ever let the public know the truth? Because as much as this looks like a health crisis on the surface, the murmurs suggest it's something far more complicated. Something that could split the Harris family apart forever. The whispers turned into roars as rumors began flooding the internet. For days, the Harris family had managed to keep the cause of King's ICU admission under wraps. But now the so-called inside leaks started surfacing, and what they revealed shook fans and the industry to their core. At first, people believed this was just a sudden health complication, maybe something genetic or stress-related. But then an anonymous source claiming to be tied directly to the hospital staff dropped a bombshell. They claimed that King Harris had suffered multiple organ complications triggered not by natural causes, but by what doctors are allegedly calling a severe internal collapse. The words were vague but terrifying, fueling speculation that something sinister had gone down before King was rushed to the hospital. Even more unsettling, the insider revealed that doctors found signs of trauma that didn't quite align with the family's official statements. Almost immediately, conspiracy theories began to explode. Was King the victim of an attack? Did someone close to him know more than they were admitting? Or was this the result of a lifestyle spiral that had finally reached its breaking point? Fans demanded answers. The Harris family was thrown into a storm of suspicion. Every post, every word, every tear from T.I. or Tiny was dissected online. And then came the video clip that sent the internet into absolute meltdown. Leaked from a hospital security camera, the footage appeared to show T.I. and Tiny being rushed into King's room as alarms blared and nurses scrambled to stabilize him. In the background, faintly, King's voice could be heard groaning in pain, followed by him muttering something that sounded like, "They did this to me." The grainy video spread like wildfire, with millions of views in less than an hour. Hashtags shifted from hashtag pray for King Harris to hashtag who did this to King as fans and bloggers demanded accountability. Could King have been poisoned? Attacked? Or was his cryptic statement just the rambling of someone in agony? Meanwhile, insiders close to the Harris family said the atmosphere inside the hospital was tense and hostile. Relatives reportedly began arguing with one another, pointing fingers behind closed doors. Some accused King's circle of friends of leading him down a destructive path. Others blamed T.I. for being too busy chasing business deals to notice his son's downward spiral. Tiny, torn between grief and anger, allegedly broke down during one heated argument, yelling, "We all failed him." But perhaps the most shocking twist came from a leaked voicemail. A fan page released audio they claimed was from one of King's close friends, left just hours before he collapsed. The voice on the tape could be heard saying, "King's been talking reckless. He said he knows too much and people won't like it if it comes out. Something happens to him, just know it wasn't an accident." The clip set social media ablaze. Suddenly, this wasn't just a health crisis, it was starting to look like a full-blown conspiracy. Fans began speculating that King had uncovered something about the industry, or about powerful figures around him, that he wasn't supposed to reveal. Blogs ran wild with theories. Some said King had been silenced before he could drop a bombshell track exposing rival rappers. Others believed he had stumbled upon dark secrets about his father's business dealings. The wildest theories even suggested that someone inside his own family might have wanted him quieted. The Harris family, already crumbling under the weight of grief and fear, now faced a tidal wave of accusations. T.I. released a rare emotional statement on Instagram Live, where tears streamed down his face as he addressed the rumors. "Y'all, out here talking like this is some kind of game," he said, voice shaking. "This is my son's life. It's my boy fighting every second, and people spreading lies for clout. Enough is enough. We don't need speculation, we need prayers." But his plea did little to stop the chaos. Fans flooded the comments, demanding the truth. Some accused T.I. of covering up what really happened, while others defended him, saying no parent should be forced to battle rumors while watching their child fight for life. Behind the scenes, however, whispers of a police investigation began circulating. An Atlanta detective was reportedly seen entering the hospital late at night, meeting with doctors and quietly requesting access to King's medical reports. When questioned by reporters, the police refused to comment. only fueling speculation that something criminal might indeed be involved. And then came the most gut-wrenching twist yet, according to one anonymous nurse. King Harris regained consciousness again, but this time he was fully aware. The nurse claimed that King whispered something to his mother that sent her into a screaming breakdown. Tiny allegedly collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably, as T.I. rushed to hold her back. The nurse didn't disclose exactly what King said, but hinted that it changed everything. Word of this alleged confession spread instantly, sparking another tidal wave of speculation. Did King name the person responsible for his collapse? Did he reveal a secret that the family was desperate to keep hidden? Or was it simply the pain-fueled words of a young man fighting for his life? By this point, even celebrities outside of hip-hop began to weigh in. Cardi B posted a heartfelt message. "I don't care what y'all saying online, this is somebody's baby. Protect King at all costs." NBA star LeBron James tweeted, "Praying for King Harris and his family. Too much negativity out here, all need to chill." But the controversy didn't stop there. TMZ claimed to have obtained exclusive documents showing that the hospital had performed a toxicology analysis on King. Though they refused to reveal the results, fans immediately jumped to conclusions. Was King poisoned? Did drugs play a role? Or was it something even more sinister? What made matters worse was a sudden blackout at the hospital that same night. Security cameras reportedly went down for nearly 40 minutes, leaving a critical gap in the timeline of King's treatment. Conspiracy theorists latched onto this immediately, arguing that someone was trying to cover their tracks. Meanwhile, the Harris family's unity began to splinter publicly. Family members posted cryptic Instagram stories that fans dissected frame by frame. One relative wrote, "Everybody ain't family. Some people smiling in your face and praying for your downfall." Another wrote, "The truth will come out. It always does." By now, the narrative had shifted entirely. What began as a tragic health emergency had morphed into something much darker, a story of betrayal, suspicion, and hidden truths. Fans weren't just praying for King's recovery anymore. They were demanding to know who hurt King Harris and why. And just when the world thought things couldn't get any messier, a shocking new claim surfaced this time, not from an insider, but from King himself. According to someone in the ICU, King scribbled a note while struggling to breathe. A note that staff quickly passed to his parents. The note contained just 3 words. 3 words that could change everything. 3 words that, if revealed, might tear the Harris family and the hip-hop world apart. The problem: no one outside the room has seen that note. And the question haunting everyone now is simple. What did King Harris write in that final desperate moment of clarity? The atmosphere outside the hospital had become a circus. News vans lined the street, paparazzi camped at every corner, and fans gathered in growing crowds with posters, candles, and chants of "Pray for King." But while supporters demanded answers, the narrative online was spiraling into chaos. The mysterious 3-word note, allegedly written by King, had become the centerpiece of speculation. And every blog, YouTube channel, YouTube channel, and Twitter thread claimed to know what it said. Some outlets insisted the note read, "They betrayed me." Others swore it said, "Dad knows everything." The most explosive theory: that King wrote the name of a specific person, a name insiders claim, if revealed, would shake hip-hop to its core. But the Harris family refused to confirm or deny anything. And that silence only made things worse. The online war between fans escalated into 2 camps. Those defending the Harris family, insisting King's health crisis was simply a tragic accident, and those who believed something darker was at play. Hashtags like #JusticeForKing and #ProtectTheTruth started trending worldwide. Influencers jumped in, using the tragedy as content fuel, dissecting every frame of leaked footage and every cryptic Instagram story like detectives on a true crime series. Meanwhile, celebrities began picking sides. At Meek Mill posted on X, "This culture, too dirty. We need to protect our kids before the industry eats them alive. Praying for King Harris. But then came the post that stunned everyone. Rapper Boosie went live on Instagram and outright said, "Y'all think King just sick? Man, wake up. He got targeted. Somebody don't want that young man talking. Trust me." His words ignited another firestorm. If even veteran rappers were saying King was silenced, how deep did this rabbit hole go? Behind the scenes, whispers grew louder about the police quietly launching a criminal probe. According to an alleged leak from someone tied to Atlanta PD, authorities were not ruling out foul play. Toxicology reports had supposedly shown unusual substances in King's system, substances that weren't recreational drugs, but something far more sophisticated. And then, in a shocking development, one of King's so-called friends was taken into questioning. TMZ cameras caught images of a young man in handcuffs being escorted out of the hospital parking lot by officers. His name wasn't released, but online detectives immediately began digging into King's known circle. Old Instagram lives of King hanging with certain friends resurfaced, fueling wild accusations. Theories spiraled even further when Cardi herself inserted herself into the drama with a cryptic late-night post. On her IG story, she shared a black screen with the words, "These kids see too much, and when they speak, that's when it gets dangerous." Fans instantly interpreted it as a veiled message about King. Did Cardi know something? Or was she just speaking generally about the music industry? The backlash was instant. Some praised her for telling the truth. Others slammed her for exploiting a family's tragedy for clout. But one thing was certain. Her words added more fuel to an already blazing inferno. Meanwhile, a 50 Cent couldn't resist chiming in. He dropped a shady comment under a blog post, "Told y'all years ago. Watch the people closest to you. They the ones who set you up." While he didn't name King directly, the timing made it impossible not to link the two. Fans flooded the comments, tagging at TipTI and demanding answers. Inside the Harris household. However, the cracks were becoming fractures. Insiders claimed T.I. and Tiny had begun fighting nonstop, disagreeing about how much to reveal publicly. Tiny allegedly wanted to release King's note to clear the family's name, while T.I. insisted it would only make things worse. Family meetings reportedly ended in screaming matches, with relatives storming out in tears, adding to the pressure. King's siblings began posting emotional messages that hinted at bigger truths. His sister Daya allegedly wrote, "Sometimes silence isn't protection, it's guilt." Though she quickly deleted it, screenshots spread like wildfire. Fans began speculating whether even King's siblings were turning against their own father. Then came the footage that nearly broke the IN2 a leaked audio clip, allegedly recorded inside King's ICU room by a nurse. Captured King's voice weak but audible, saying something chilling. In the clip, he whispered, "I saw who did it." Don't let them lie. Though authenticity of the clip couldn't be verified, that didn't stop it from going viral. Millions shared it within hours. And hashtags like #WhoDidIt and #KingKnows shot to the top of trending lists. The public was now convinced. King Harris wasn't just a victim of fate, he was the target of something darker. And if he truly saw who did it, the question was, who was he protecting? Theories exploded. Some said King was pointing the finger at rival rappers. Others argued it was someone inside his own family. But the most explosive claim came from a so-called insider journalist who appeared on a podcast. He claimed King had been planning to release a tell-all freestyle that would have exposed corruption, backstabbing, and dark industry secrets, including dirt on some of hip-hop's biggest names. This revelation aligned perfectly with the leaked voicemail from King's friend, who had warned that people wouldn't like what King was about to say. Now fans were convinced King was silenced before he could speak his truth. But just as speculation reached a fever pitch, something happened that made everything even more confusing. The Harris family's lawyer released a statement insisting that King's collapse was due to a rare medical condition and that no foul play was involved. The statement also dismissed the leaked audio, calling it fabricated. The problem: fans didn't believe a word of it. If anything, the denial only made people more convinced that a cover-up was in motion. Conspiracy theorists pointed out that the lawyer never addressed the rumored note, never explained the police involvement, and carefully dodged any questions about the toxicology results. And then, out of nowhere, a massive twist shattered everything, according to a blog with supposed ties to hospital staff. King's health had taken a shocking turn. After weeks of battling for life, he had reportedly stabilized and was beginning to recover. But here's the kicker: King was allegedly demanding to speak publicly. If true, this meant the world might finally hear his side of the story, and perhaps the truth about what really happened to him. The internet erupted. Fans flooded timelines with posts like, "If King talks, careers are over." Others speculated that the Harris family would never let him speak freely, fearing what he might expose. Some even claimed the industry itself would intervene to silence him before he could reveal his truth, as the Harris family huddled in silence. And the internet demanded answers. One thing became clear: King Harris was at the center of a storm that could either destroy everything or change hip-hop forever. And if his recovery truly gave him the chance to speak, the world wasn't ready for what he might reveal. And now, we're at the point where this story takes its most dangerous turn yet. King Harris, after weeks of fighting for his life in the ICU, is reportedly stabilizing, and insiders say he's demanding to speak. But here's the terrifying question that has the entire world on edge. Will King actually be allowed to tell the truth? Because let's be real, if the rumors are true, and King really did see who was behind this, then the fallout could be catastrophic. We're talking about careers destroyed overnight, reputations crumbling, and entire families being torn apart. The Harris name is already hanging by a thread, and if King breaks his silence, this could be the biggest scandal hip-hop has ever seen. But there's also the darker possibility. What if he never gets the chance to speak? What if powerful forces inside the industry shut him down before his truth ever sees daylight? Think about it. The leaked audio of him whispering, "I saw who did it," already caused chaos. And that was just a few seconds of his voice. Imagine the nuclear explosion if King Harris himself steps up to a camera and names. So the real cliffhanger here isn't just whether King recovers, it's whether the world will ever get to hear his story in full. Will King expose the betrayal that nearly ended his life? Or will silence and maybe even fear keep the truth buried forever? One thing's for sure: this is bigger than a family crisis. This is about the entire hip-hop industry, the power players who control it, and the secrets they never wanted exposed. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe King Harris will come forward and speak? Or do you think his voice will be silenced before he ever gets the chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is far from over. At 50 Cent, at I Am Cardeeb, at Tip, at RealTony, at WorldStar, at XXL, at TMZ, pray for King. Hashtag King Harris. Hashtag Tip. Hashtag Hip Hop Drama. Hashtag Industry Secrets #ICU. Hashtag Truth will come out.